Now, President Donald Trump recently melted down over a new Fox News poll that shows a majority, and this explains why he melted down, that a majority of Americans actually favor his impeachment. Again, this is Fox News poll. So now in this poll, 54% of respondents said that they wanted to see Donald Trump impeached over the extortion scheme in Ukraine, which he is very likely to be impeached. Now, impeachment does not necessarily mean removal. However, 50% in the same poll, Fox News poll, want Trump both impeached and then removed from office. So that would mean, of course, you would have a majority of the Senate that would vote to convict Donald Trump of the charges, or at least one of the charges, because all it takes is one, and Trump would be summarily removed from office. Now, that poll actually matches up with a lot of other polls that have roughly the same outcome. So you have, a large majority of Americans saying, let's impeach the president, because these charges sound very, very serious. And then you have a slim majority saying we should impeach and remove the president. That is unprecedented. It's almost as if the evidence saying that the president had tried to extort the leader of another country for personal gain is pretty damning. So the president, of course, did not take this poll very well, and so took to Twitter, as he usually does. Again, no one is surprised. Quote, the Fox News polls, always inaccurate, are heavily weighted towards Dems. So ridiculous. The same thing happened in 2016. They got it all wrong. Get a new pollster. Get a new pollster. I remind you, it's a Fox News poll. No, they generally don't have a habit of oversampling Democrats, which of course would mean that it's a skewed poll. And generally, when you're skewing polls, that makes poll results incredibly unreliable so that people will not trust those polls. But Donald Trump's saying, you didn't skew the poll enough towards me. And so we get this result that I don't like. You must be skewing it the other way, because his brain doesn't process the fact that not everybody's like him. Not everybody skews things to make themselves look good. And so now, here's the other thing. That same poll that Trump just blasted as being completely wrong and that they need a new pollster also came out with these results. Approval rating in Republican Party, 95%, a record. Overall approval rating, 51%. Think of where I'd be without the never-ending 24-hour-a-day phony witch hunt that started 3 years ago. Yeah, you might be at 52%. That same poll had President Donald Trump's approval rating tick upwards, despite the fact that similar majority of the country also wants to see him impeached and removed. It's almost as if people can compartmentalize. Like, oh, yes, I guess the economy and everything's doing okay, which it really isn't, as I've outlined in other videos. But also, man, it seems even though the president's doing the right things, he's also kind of a criminal, and I'm not exactly comfortable with that. Huh. Weird. I know, right? So, again, you can be popular among Republicans while being a criminal. In fact, that might be a prerequisite in today's Republican Party. But look, that's how kind of partisanship works, right? Where people still like you, even if you're breaking laws, as long as you're representing them. And in this case, Donald Trump does represent the base of the Republican Party, which overwhelmingly, at least a majority of, are fairly racist, or pretty racist, I should say, and of course, xenophobic. As you can see, the comments and the commentary, the rhetoric against basically anybody who's not white, Christian, or Republican. So, anyway, now look, Trump, and the reason that people see, and agree with impeachment is because Trump very clearly attempted to break campaign finance law through extorting another country using federal monies that were passed through Congress, right, earmarked for Ukrainian defense against Russian aggression. People can see that. And then he did it all for personal political gain. I mean, a crime's a crime's a crime. And it's very clearly you are not able to do that. That is a campaign finance violation. Now, what saves him is the fact that impeachment is a political process. And so he's not going to go to prison for these crimes, but he can get removed. Now, those are facts, right? Now the thing is that you can point to multiple witnesses that were firsthand to that call. People who were part of Donald Trump's administration who heard the call and were like, I'm kind of worried about this. This is not like we put up with a lot and we generally agree with Trump on policy, but boy, this is not good. This is abusing the office of the presidency for personal political gain. Yikes. They have gone on the record. People like Gordon Sondland gave Trump $1 million and got appointed as an ambassador to the EU in return for it. There's somebody who agreed, Lev Parnas, who, again, never really got into politics all that much, but gave tons of money to President Trump or to Trump's campaign. Now Parnas is like, oh, you're going to flip on me and you say you don't even know me. Well, then I'm going to testify against you. You see how that works. See how it works when you continually toss people that you know under the bus that are criminals? Just saying. Oh, and that he hires the best people. He has the best people around him, by the way. So, look, he used, of course, a meeting and then an announcement of investigation into his political opponents as a carrot for giving military aid to Ukraine. Now, the funny thing is, and this shows how incompetent they really are, Donald Trump could have easily went and used his own resources, his own campaign, to dig up opposition research, right? Now, they can't get that opposition research from foreign sources, but if they went and did their own investigation in Ukraine without using foreign sources, there's a good chance that we would not be talking about this right now. Again, if you use your own sources and don't take foreign sources, because if you use a foreign source, that is the equivalent of, and if that information, you get information from a foreign source, that can be considered a campaign contribution. That's what this whole thing is about. Getting dirt, well, not just this whole thing, but the information part of it itself is wrong. And then using that, that foreign aid as a way to extort a foreign country into doing your research for you and to doing mainly an announcement. If he had just done it the smart way and not the stupid way, well, then he wouldn't be facing impeachment right now. But as usual, Trump is too stupid / corrupt to do the legal way of getting dirt on your opponent. And when people try to hold him accountable for it, well, he attacks the very network that, for very few exceptions, is massively on his side. That's just who Trump is. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent, progressive media.